All right, guys, welcome to episode 3 of On the King's Dime. This is a follow up, obviously, of our kind of mini podcast that we did a little while ago. Obviously, there's been some more preseason action in the meantime with Sydney taking on Drexel and also University of Hawaii and 2 away games to Melbourne United,
Yeah, they're
which
kind
was.
of neutral games. They were just neutral venues,
Oh, yeah.
so it
They
wasn't
were in
really home and
Melbourne.
away.
No, 2 away games.
Yeah,
Oh,
for both teams.
for both teams, yes. One was in Bendigo, the other one was in Melbourne.
Was it in Melbourne?
Yeah, it was.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was in
Oh, there
Melbourne.
you go. So it was kind of a home game, I guess, for them.
Yes.
For Melbourne.
So we've kind of got a final roster now. Denga Kuth getting the last
Yeah,
spot on the roster, and that was a development.
he was a development player, and then they sort of upgraded him to an actual contracted player now. So
Yeah.
I think that's the last spot. And I think Wilson, is a development player, and then Brian Bowen is the other development player as well.
Yeah, Bowen's kind of like the dark horse. He could be
Yeah.
friggin' amazing, or he could just be another guy hoping to get somewhere. But early on,
Mm.
dude can shoot.
Yeah, and he's got a high basketball IQ. He can play.
Really can.
Athletically, he's pretty good too. So I think he's just feeling his way through it.
Yeah, and I think they're interviewing the GM of the Sydney Kings, and he's really going to be a process man. It's not all about him; it's about how he fits into the team,
Yeah.
trying to go for the title. So
Yeah, I do remember hearing that on the stream. He was sort of saying that he's a mature type of player that wants to just play in the system as opposed to, make the development about him being an import and all that sort of
Yeah.
thing. Because I think he's going into the draft next year.
he's going to the draft, but you'd have to wonder he didn't get an NCAA scholarship anywhere.
Nah.
So you'd have to wonder if he's actually going to draft. But from the looks of him, hey, he's still going to be a pretty good player.
I'd have a crack. Like, he looks like a solid player, good
Yeah.
athletic, can shoot, high IQ, can pass, handles the ball pretty well. So,
Yeah. All right,
um,
so we can talk about Drexel. We can't really talk about much because there was no stream, but it was a non-open door game, so we do
Yeah.
have some stats. Kings hammered them.
yeah,
Adnam's good.
yeah, man.
He can shoot. That kid can shoot.
And
Really good.
Very fast, very good with the ball on the floor too. He gets into tight spaces and he can finish around the rim.
Yeah.
Quite athletic. He's only small. I think he's only 6'1". Randall's 5'9", and Adnam I think is 6'1".
Okay.
So, but finishing through traffic is obviously, it's a skill you need to develop as a player if you're going to make an impact on the bigger leagues around the world. But
Yeah.
in the NBL, I think he's going to be really good, sort of driving to the rim
Definitely.
off of Bogut screens and stuff like that, which is good.
26 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals. Deng Deng. I love that name.
Yeah.
14 points, 8 rebounds, and Brian Bowen, 10 points, 7 rebounds. So this is more the Young Kings played against Drexel.
Yeah.
I don't think Bogut played this game, or if he
Nah.
did, he played a couple of minutes.
I think Bogut Newley and Kickett all sat out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So very, very good game. I have to say as well that the assist factor in FIBA rules is a lot lower than the NBA
Yeah.
because they actually have to assist only counts when the ball isn't put on the floor and dribbled. So it's a direct road to the rim. So their assist count's going to be a lot lower, but that's why we don't see these crazy like triple double stats.
Yeah.
That you see in the NBA, and there's 8 less minutes as well. But yeah, Adam's a great shot, good 3-point shooting, good ability to drive to the rim, and very quick, and defends pretty well as well. Defends
Yeah.
at the top quite well against counterparts. You kind of see in the NBL, they're not oversized point guards. They're kind of traditional 6'1" to 6'3"
Yeah.
point guards. So you're not going to see the 6'10" likes of Simmons or the point center.
Yeah, that point forward type player. You're not going to get that in the NBL. It
Nah.
just isn't. It's a more traditional type of, your guards are your faster, smaller players, and your small forward is the guy that's the scorer.
Yeah.
In Goulding, in that Melbourne game, he played small forward, a lot of small forward, and he was always finding ways to sort of get out to the 3-point line or put the ball on the floor on the wing. And you can see the way the floor, I think the court's actually smaller than the NBA court, slightly smaller.
It's about, I think the 3-point, you can see they actually draw both 3-point arcs on the floor, but I think in the corner it's 3 inches, and
Yeah.
at the top it's 6 or 7 inches.
And it makes a big difference. You can feel the spacing is odd. Like when
It's
you
a
watch
lot
NBA,
tighter.
when you watch NBA games, maybe their IQs are a lot better and they can space the floor a lot better. But in these 2 games against Melbourne, it almost felt like the floor was a bit compacted
Yeah, it was
sometimes,
bunched.
and it was your Wilson and your Randall being able to sort of put the ball on the floor and sort of weave their way through traffic and score. And it's especially Newley's not quick, but he's got strong upper body.
Yeah,
And the
he's a
difference
driver.
between David Weir's the same, but he doesn't seem to have that high strength, like the real top heavy strength that Newley has. So I think it's going to be interesting. Weir's not a great sort of drive and finisher, but he can catch the ball in the post and sort of perform a post move and score. So that's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
He looks decent. He kind of looks like Kickett, Newley, and Weir are sort of all 3 of the same type of player.
Yeah.
And then you look at Adnam, Wilson,
Randall.
and Randall are all sort of similar players.
Yeah.
And then Deng Deng and Dengakuth are both similar sort of stringy sort of
String beans. I think
forwards.
Dengakuth's more of your kind of Bogut backup, good rim protector. Deng's more of your like your Thon maker, kind of stretch 4.
Sort of stretch 4, stretch 5, yeah.
Yeah, so that's they smashed Drexel quite convincingly. Hawaii, we didn't see any vision. There was no stats, but we got the box score 82-65, and Bogut didn't play that game.
Nah, I think it was just Kickett out of the senior players that played in that game. So yeah. And then we get on to Melbourne, the 2 Melbourne games. So the first real proper scrimmage, and I think it was a good outing. Like both teams really tried to play hard and tried to win those games.
Yeah, it wasn't like a normal kind of friendly game.
No.
They were getting in each other's faces.
Yeah. And that's good. I think that's good because we're about a month out from the season start.
6 weeks.
Yeah.
5-6 weeks? Yeah, 5-6 weeks. So
and they still got to go over to the US or to Hawaii or the US to play their game.
Yeah,
over
United's
there.
playing Philly on the 28th, and I think Sydney's playing
The
Clippers on the 30th.
Yeah,
It's on
the 30th. Yeah.
So there's
in
a couple.
Hawaii.
There's a couple, and I think the Taipans are playing like Utah or something. Well, I think a few of the NBL teams are playing, which is good to see.
Yeah, definitely. But there's a little bit of a window there. It's not just jam-packed full of games, so they're not like repetitively playing and playing and playing. They had time to sort of approach this game like it was a couple of really proper tough scrimmages, knowing they had a little bit of sort of leeway before they go. I think they're playing the Hawks in a couple of days on the 8th.
Yes.
And then they got a little bit of time. Like it's not like don't get injured. Like the whole point of this is to play hard. It's not to not play hard and make yourself ready for the new season without getting injured, which I thought was good. It added to the sort of the chip in the game, which was pretty good.
It was a good game, high-scoring event for an NBL game. I think Bogut really showed his ability to gel that team together and be that kind of ball-handling center. I think one thing that really we did see is that as a backup unit, Sydney haven't quite got it together yet. I think they haven't gelled quite well. And again, they're young, just coming together. It's been a big roster change this year. I think the starting 5 look good for an NBL team. Lish, Randall, Bogut, Kickett, and four.
Is it the 3?
Who's at the 3?
Newley.
That's it. Newley. So a good amounts of experience, but there's a couple of young guys that can come in and play some serious minutes. Look, I like Adnam. I think he's going to be one to watch and potentially take over the point guard duties. I think he defends better than Randall and is a more natural, aggressive player. I think Randall started game 2 really strangely and sloppy and a couple of turnovers and not dribbling and not paying attention. I have to say, NBL full court press is fucking annoying. It's such ugly basketball.
Mate, I had in my notes, like I wrote all my notes down, and about 6 or 7 times in both games, I just wrote full court press. Like, God, stop it. Just stop.
Yeah.
And it's brutal to watch, and it just disrupts the flow of everything. And I hate it. It's horrible because, your point guard dribbles up the floor with a guy on him, and that's 7 or 8 seconds off the clock. And then suddenly you got to run this really quick set. And I don't know why they do it. Like, I'd encourage them not to do it. I mean, obviously, opposition's going to do it to Sydney all the time. And the league itself, that's one of the most annoying things I find about the NBL is the full court press. But I just want them to stop. It's horrible. And it makes it really hard to run proper offense. But if you're Melbourne, the other part too was in that first game, they really got into Bogut. Like, they were getting up in his face and really right into him, making sure he couldn't, facilitate at the elbow, come up to the 3-point line and handle the ball. And they were making sure he couldn't do anything, which it's a massive disruption to that offense. It really is. And that's kind of why Randall had a really good first game. Like, he played really well, and it's why when he plays his sort of ISO ball, he's quite good at that. But it just feels really out of place. Like, it's not supposed to be like, the Kings start to move the ball around, and suddenly out of nowhere, Randall will sort of slow the pace down and come off a screen and put up an isolation bucket, which he's really good at. I think he shot 6 from 8 in that first game.
He's a very efficient scorer.
But you just feel like it's out of place.
Yeah.
They
kind of get to the point where, there a lot of fouls that first game. Like, I think they were in the bonus pretty early on in every quarter.
I think they shot 27 free throws. I was looking at the box score.
A lot of fouls for
27 free throws to Sydney's 18.
Yeah, a lot of
the
fouls.
The refs were a bit, and then obviously they had that unsportsmanlike foul towards the end as well, where
there was a few texts as well.
I think there was just one, that Bogut one, where Moeller came across under a free throw that went in, and instead of you normally just try and box out and grab a rebound, but the free throw went in. He came all the way across to the other side into Bogut and like right up under his ribs, like through a sneaky elbow up under his ribs. Bogut didn't like it. He turned around and just went whack, and that's why he got the foul. But I'm like, all night they were just getting into him, like chippy. All night, man. And obviously he's an asset, more like just as much as how good he is with the basketball. You also look at him as an asset. Like, please don't get hurt. Like, please don't get hurt, because we don't want that, because you're such an asset to this team.
Yeah.
And every time he went down, like threw himself on the ground or took a charge, I was just like, cringing, you're hoping. Man.
Oh, look, I think he'll get through 28 games.
Yeah.
Plus, I think playing an 82-game roster, although his minutes will be increased compared to what he's played probably in the last couple of years. But playing a 28-game roster with good breaks in between. There's no 2-night turnarounds or back-to-backs.
Well, there are a couple of sort of weekend 1 and 2 games, so Friday, Sunday, or Friday, Monday.
Yeah.
That's where maybe you
but whack Deng Akuth in for a few more minutes.
Yeah, I think so. You sort of up Akuth's minutes and maybe play Deng at the 4 and maybe Weir at the 5 as well, or even Kickett. I don't think Newley can really play center. I think he's more of a forward who can sort of play power forward. But that's just the one thing, man. I'm touching wood every time. I just hope he doesn't get hurt in a freak accident or something like that. Yeah. But he looks like he's playing aggressive, Bogut, but controlled at the same time.
He doesn't look quite fit yet, though. But I mean,
he looks a little bit like he's lost a little bit too much weight.
Yeah,
like, I don't remember him being this sort of this skinny or maybe this light.
He's probably the strength conditioning factor's not the same as, or not needed to be the same as an 82-game season plus playoffs. So I doubt he's coming into that with the same level of strength conditioning that he's done over the years in America.
Or the muscle building. He looks like he's lost a little bit of that muscle mass. Maybe that's fitness-wise to avoid injury too. Yeah. Maybe, if he was heavier, that's sort of contributing to his injuries and stuff like that, or his likelihood to get injured. That was the one thing that I hope wasn't going to happen. But all in all, that first game, even though we lost, it was a pretty tight game.
It was an interesting game.
First half, I think we were out by about 15 in the first half.
Yeah, I think once Bogut came off, once the young guys came on, there was the lack of really. I mean, I think Adnam's good in isolation. Where he lacks is some cohesion with the younger guys like Deng and Wilson, and where they just lack some cohesion. I think that's what Bogut brings, and that's what Kicker brings as well.
Yeah.
Is that, kind of understanding. And again, Randall playing very much in isolation if there's nothing on offer, gives you that out. He's very much like Durant in that kind of out if there's nothing really on offer, or if you've got 10 seconds left, just hoik the ball to him and let him score.
There's not really another player like that in that second unit.
Yeah,
really.
not in the second unit. I honestly think that they probably need to split that first unit up and get Lish, get Adam in with Randall, and Lish running a second unit that's going to play some serious minutes, because I think you really do lose that ability to have that floor general on the court who's running things. I think Adam's pretty young and Wilson's still pretty young.
Yeah.
And Bowen hasn't found his voice yet. So I think it comes with time. These are what these good warm-up games are about. But game 2, much, much better. Much more cohesion. Much better shooting. I think Adnam hit three threes in a row. It was something crazy, like just coming off the halftime buzzer.
Yeah, I think he had 3 from 5 from 3. Bogut as well, 15 points, 15 rebounds. Just great performance. I think
he got a few blocks as well, didn't he? Where's his blocks?
I think he got 2 blocks.
Yeah.
2 steals as well, and then a half court heave at the buzzer. I think the halftime buzzer, he had a half court heave. That didn't miss by much either. It was a pretty decent effort. Going into that second game, they made that lineup change, so it was obviously the same score. The first game was 83-95 loss, and then the second game was a 95-83 win. So Ware came into the starting lineup for Kickett. I don't think Ware has the range. Like, he doesn't have the range that Kickett has, and he doesn't have the floor spacing that Kickett has. But what it did do was in that first game, like I was texting you, every time Bogut is down low, they just bring their big up to the foul line or to the 3-point line. Yeah. And Bogut doesn't have the mobility really to
move around them,
to get out there and defend on the perimeter. I mean, everyone's going to try and bring Bogut out to the perimeter to take away his ability to block at the rim. His defense at the rim is going to be a massive factor. And that starting lineup, Newley's defense at the rim is not great, and Kickett's defense at the rim is very average. He's also quite slow as well. So I think in that first game, that's why Pledger scored so many points, is they were bringing him out to the foul line and allowing him to either put the ball on the floor or dictate terms sort of out near the elbow, which was, it was either points or he was able to sort of get inside away from Bogut, which I think teams are going to start doing. Like, they're going to have to make sure Bogut can't just sit on the weak side and wait for someone to drive, because of the full court press pressures you into offense really quickly, pressures you into sort of making silly decisions or, these fast sort of plays that rely on people driving quickly. Yeah. Bogut's going to get a lot of blocks coming off the weak side on those quick force plays where people are trying to just throw the ball up. He's going to come over the weak side and get a lot of blocks. And I think Denga Kuth's the same. He's got good timing as well. Yeah. So hopefully they can do that. But Weir's not... Yeah, he can't shoot. Like, he can't shoot from 3. He can, but not it's
a
Kickett,
low percentage.
Man.
Yeah, Kickett's in the 40s probably.
Yeah, you look at Kickett, and that's a genuine option to space the floor, because he's going to hit threes at a high rate. But what Weir does have is a decent set of post moves. Like, he hit a couple of post fadeaways, which were pretty nice. Yeah. That obviously, like, putting the ball into the post changes the way Bogut is on the floor also. Like, if you're throwing the ball into the post, Bogut coming out to the elbow kind of negates that, kind of spaces the floor a bit strangely. Yeah. So having Weir who's able to post up, which is a decent sort of option. They didn't really run a lot of sort of lob sets for Bogut. They ran a couple in that first game.
They did. I think what they did a lot in the offensive sense is they brought Bogut out to the 3-point line, and either they rolled off Adnam or Randall, and Bogut was able to hold up 2 or 3 players and allow them to shoot either from 17 feet or from the 3-point line. So there was a lot of good screens that allowed guys to get into open positions and score more efficiently at the arc. And that's why I don't think they played... I mean, Bogut did score a lot of points, but I think that was, again, some sloppy defending from Melbourne and allowing him to roll to the rim. But
and he's got that little hook in his locker.
yeah, it's the weirdest little shot.
It's weird. It's like I'm putting something on the shelf.
Yeah.
Hook shot. It's this sort of like open hand lefty sort of flick scoop.
He does it with both. If you see him warm, he does it with both hands.
And
because he's 7'1".
No, I think he's just 7 feet, like even
7
foot
feet.
even.
Well, still, he's probably got a wingspan of about 2 or 3 inches over most people. So it's a smart scoring option.
It's
post.
solid. It's not NBA solid, but it's NBL solid. Like if he puts up 3 or 4 of them a night and hits maybe 50%, that's decent. Obviously, you're going to look to get a couple of roll and lobs, maybe 3 or 4 of those a night, and then some tip-ins. I mean, and that's about what you're going to expect. Maybe on an NBA night, that's about what you're going to expect, but I don't really expect him to throw the ball into Bogut in the post. Like, it's just not...
No, he's not going to...
It's not his thing.
He's not a Joel Embiid kind mover.
Well, I don't know whether maybe he wants to do that. He doesn't seem like on the court he wants touches in the post, like a Dwight Howard who did, like, I'm playing for this team, I want the ball in the post like this.
Yeah.
For him, he seems quite happy to just sort of exist in the offense, which will be good for Sydney. But it also takes time. You could tell in both games there's still parts on the defense and the offensive end where sometimes they don't really know what to do with Bogut, where he's in space. In that first game, right at the end, before he came out, he ran up to Golding at the 3-point line, and 2 of them ran up as well and left the post wide open, and someone just threw it in the post. It was a dunk. And I think it was Randall, like things where... Like, what are you doing, Bogut? Like, why are you doing that? And you can't rip him for it because it's Andrew Bogut. Like, he's a talisman player. And that's where sort of Gaze and Bogut were getting into it on the touchline. I don't know if you saw that. They were getting a bit like, like calm down sort of thing. And it's hard. Like, you can see in some of those plays, they don't really know how to move with Bogut up at the elbow. It's like, why is this big guy standing up here? This doesn't make sense. A couple of the times, Wilson, instead of sort of running around Bogut handling the ball, he ran sort of a curl and then back into the lane. And you could tell Bogut's like, no, you're meant to come and get the handoff, mate. Like, I'm here standing here with the ball, so I'm handing it off to you.
I'm going to hold your man up.
Which clogs up the lane a little bit, but they'll work that out over the season, you know.
I think that it looks promising so far. You took the champions pretty much to the end of both games. And looked good doing it. So I think the talent's there, really. But it'll be good to see the wider NBL and what they have to bring as well.
I don't know how full strength that Melbourne team was, but I don't know anything about that Melbourne team.
They're missing a couple of players. So. I mean, they had their main guys, but they're missing a couple of decent players.
They look more of a team that's...
A couple of the imports have yet to come in.
Yeah. So they look like more of a team that's just solid, like a really solid team.
Yeah.
They looked well coached.
Well coached.
Yeah, well drilled.
Sydney don't look well coached just yet. They look like they're playing off raw talent and ability and experience rather than actual coaching. Yeah, and that could be an Andrew Gaze factor as well.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Is this the LeBron style coaching where it's Bogut who's dictating the terms, or has Gaze got the ear of his players?
Well, I think he does. Like, it looks like he does, but some of the stuff they're running is pretty complex. Like, it's not easy stuff to run. It's not the Jerome Randall ISO's fairly simple, but having a guy like Bogut, it's not just standing in the right place at the right time. It's knowing how he plays too.
Yeah.
I mean, some of his passing into the post is so dangerous. Like, it's backdoor, it's over the top of people. It's so out of the ordinary that even their own players looked a bit like, wasn't expecting that. Like, and I think it'll take time to sort of develop like a few little sort of handoffs in the lane and stuff. Randall looked like he was sort of starting to get it.
Yes,
but I wonder how long they really have in their season to sort of work all that stuff out. That might be something that sort of comes crumbling down in the season if they can't sort of get it rolling and get it working. But hopefully they win some games early in the season and work all that out. But that play for where they run Randall off a screen and then Bogut will screen another man and then roll like off a split, that's like every time that's a basket. Like
Yeah.
nobody seemed to be able to, like in all 5 of the games in preseason, no team seemed to be able to understand that. It was just every time it was like, yep, Bogut's in, bang. So I wonder, you don't just keep running that in a preseason. You don't just go, right, we'll just keep running that then all night. Like you run it once, you put it back in the pocket and you come back to it later. I do wonder as well, that second unit we were talking about before doesn't have that 2-man or the 3-man game. It has a bunch of very individualistic players thrown into a lineup. Like Bowen looks really solid, very, very capable, little bit nervy, little bit tentative. That's understandable. In that second game, in the open court, they were so deadly. Like Randall was just so devastating in the open court, running the fast break. Adnam and Wilson, they're just so damaging, man. So quick, always picking the right pass, knowing how to, 2-on-3, knowing how to run the fast break properly. Bowen got a couple of really nice lob dunks and one massive dunk as well. So hopefully they'll work that out. That's a lot harder to sort of create with Bogut. With Bogut there, you're not going to get that many fast break opportunities. No. Maybe off a block or maybe off a steal or breakdown, but
you're going to get a lot more baseline cutting opportunities. A lot more guys and a lot more, taking the man off and allowing to score in isolation or off a good screen.
Yeah.
So
you're going to have to keep all those guys are going to have to keep moving and make sure they're always moving. And
it
that's going to be the
fast.
key.
It is fast. So where do we go from here?
I think that was about it. I think that game was a really good sort of good measure because it was very well contested. Like
it wasn't Melbourne putting kind of their hands up and going, fuck it, fourth quarter, we're going to play easy. They were going for the win. I think they were told to go for the win as well. So
and then Goulding and Bogut.
Goulding gets a little bit chippy.
But Bogut does as well, man. Bogut's a little bit.
Yeah, but I mean, this dude has the right to be chippy.
Yeah,
he's fucking
true.
7 foot and he's Andrew Bogut.
Yeah, very true.
Goulding's got a little bit. He's a little bit chippy. He can catch fire very quickly though.
Goulding's devastating.
I'm surprised he hasn't been picked up by Europe, a European team, or even like an NBA team. Maybe his ball on the floor is not great, but as a catch and shoot player,
yeah, definitely
deadly,
devastating, man. Some of those threes he hit were just fantastic. I wonder how effective that is in the NBL though. It's not a very articulate league.
No, he doesn't get those abilities to kind of have that open, quick break, knockdown three like you'd get in the NBA.
Yeah.
And that's why that might suit him better, playing in a league like that. But
he's deadly. So
same for the Boomers pretty soon because there's an international break. That's why we don't see any NBL. International breaks 20th to the 26th.
Okay, and then there's a few few
2 games.
NBL guys playing in that too.
Yeah, well, it's an all NBL lineup. Mitch Creek is pulled out.
Okay.
So it's an all NBL lineup.
Yeah.
Which is a shame because you'd like to see 1 or 2 NBA players in.
But they're getting to the end of their summer and
they've got their training camps on.
Yeah, pre-season's about to start.
Yeah, pre-season starts. I think they've got a report on the 10th of September or something. Cool. So they play Illawarra
on the 8th. So we will watch that. I think it's in Newcastle.
Yes.
So we'll watch that and we'll probably do another sort of
wrap.
Thoughts.
Thoughts, wrap.
Emmett Nah, that was playing in summer leagues, playing for the Illawarra Hawks now.
Okay, he's gone back to Australia. Well, we're going to do, if you tune into Aussies Taking Over the NBA, we're going to be doing a Where Are They Now of Summer League.
Where are they now?
And, we're a couple of the guys gone, so that'll be pretty good. But, of course, we've got to plug this. You've got to like, subscribe.
Yep.
Listen to us on the King's Dime, YouTube, subscribe on, we're mostly on YouTube on the King's Dime.
Yeah, YouTube, and we're on iTunes podcast, but the main podcast is coming out of YouTube, so until we sort of get everything in the one spot working properly, it's just on YouTube at the moment, but that's just how it is at the moment.
You can definitely catch us on iTunes.
Yeah.
And we'll be back
probably next week.
Sometime next week with a wrap of the Illawarra game and countdown to the 13th of October, which is season day 1.
Yeah, we're definitely going to go to that game, I think.
I might have a child.
Yeah, maybe.
Bub's on its way. All right.
All right.
Peace out.
Take it easy, peeps.
See ya.